So it's 7:06. We'll call the meeting to order. It's gonna be weird taking, okay. As we stated, the meeting minutes for the February meeting are not available at this time, so they'll be available for the next meeting for review. I believe it was February. So the first agenda item for tonight is citizens' petitions and comments. I don't believe we have anybody on the phone. Anybody receive any communication from the public? All right, just gonna finish this up. All right, next agenda item, new correspondence and communications from board members. I have none.
I have a report from SWGA when you're ready, Margaret. I don't know if that falls under this
Go
or
for
not.
it. We're ready.
Okay, now I have it typed up, so I'll just add it to the minutes. But some key things, we've been busy, as Margaret can attest to. This winter, we have our annual spring membership meeting slated for next Monday, the 11th, and our membership is growing. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Real highlights in our February meeting. I spoke about many items that we had in progress, and I'm proud to say that many of those have been accomplished. We have a SWGA handbook for 2022, and that's completed and posted. And I just want to really thank all the board members who not only gave it careful review, but also their time and meetings to really hammer this out and to make sure that our practices of the board and also that are in this handbook, as well as our our commitment to align with USGA rules and also with local Shinnecock course practices. So we think we have a good handbook. Obviously, we'll refine it each year, but I think we're off to an excellent start with that. I really want to thank Jessica Patterson from Parks and Rec. She reached out to me to talk about and have our Shinnecock Women's Golf Association have a link to the Park and Rec site. That's been accomplished, and just was easy to work with on that on the bottom of the course website. One of the last links is the Women's Golf League. And on that website, we have the handbook. We also have our bylaws. We have our 2022 membership form, and also an overview calendar, not the tournament calendar, but an overview calendar of the league. And related to that, we have a few photos posted, and Jessica gave me guidance about how I will be presenting next week to course members, but whether or not they'd like to have their photograph on it. Jessica would like to promote our league, not only on the golf website, but also through Facebook. And we're letting members know that. And obviously they can opt out if they choose not to have the photo involved. We have a volunteer photographer in our group, in our league, and we anticipate having more photos and more interest through both the course website and Facebook. Through Park and Rec. So thank you, Mark, very much for making that happen as well. Really appreciate that. And it's really a great way to get the word out. We have right now, I know 5 women who are 3 have committed to be new members, 2 have spoken with me about membership. So it's been easy to say, take a look at the website. Here's who we are, and facilitate conversation with not only existing members but new people as well. Speaking of membership, the board decided to leave the 3 levels and the rates as they were in 2021. So our membership form has been out now for about 3 weeks, and memberships are coming in. May 1st is the due date. We are very pleased, and I thank the board and also Todd for working with our idea of having a 9-hole option, not a 9-hole league, but a 9-hole option for members. And the way that's going to work is that we use Slack as a social media for signups and internal membership communications. And there will be just another column, and week by week, SWGA members can decide whether they want to compete in the weekly competition as in the 9-hole option or the 18-hole option. I'm hearing really positive things about having that additional option of 9 holes. I know myself, some weeks I'll probably be choosing that 9-hole option when the 18 doesn't conflicts with other things. So we'll have the 9-hole option each Tuesday, although the women who play on weekends, they can also choose that 9-hole option. They just have to indicate on Slack that that's what they're doing for the week. And that should work out pretty well. Let's see, last but least, I talked about Slack. The last couple things, in speaking with Todd, and Todd, we really want to try this, to have a couple of group clinics this year, probably with some of the short game strokes, but we'll develop those as we get closer to the season. And then the Women's Golf Month in June, I raised that with the board. There was interest, going to mention it to the full membership. We haven't developed any particular strategies around that, but certainly like to support, the course and also Park and Rec with that. And I know it's on the agenda to talk about later. And then last thing, just to be the nag, we didn't see new restrooms on the west side of the building, and that's kind of a disappointment. Hopefully that will be spoken about sometime in the meeting. So that's the report. Any questions?
Only that I am also looking forward to getting together with the ladies and giving them some pointers on the short game. I think that'll be well received and a big help.
Thank you, Todd.
Yes.
I don't have any additional questions, mostly because I've been involved, but no, thank you very much for that report.
You're welcome.
I think there's some good stuff, and I think some good things will come out of next Monday's meeting as well. Excellent. Okay. All right, next agenda item, golf course report.
Well, as you can see by the numbers, we fell short by quite a bit. The things to take a look at are the loss round figure for the month, the total rain events, and also, which was 10 compared to last year's 3. Weekend rain events 4, last year 1, but the estimated loss round and estimated lost revenue is significant. And if you look up, you can also see the breakdown as far as greens fees and cart rentals compared with last year. And we're just about less than half. So, and then if you go follow over to the right, season pass category month revenue. I'm just speaking rhetorically because I know you all know this, but when the course is busy, people pay their season memberships. And when we have a bunch of inclement weather, they're not playing, and so they're not paying their season passes. So we do see that it is an impact. That's just the way things go. If I'm not going to be playing for a couple weeks, then I'm I don't need to go into the shop and pay my membership. So I think that tells the pretty much the story. And then if you go down weather events, and well, you see, yes, you have 27.5 estimated lost revenue compared to last year's 3,800. So, and Mark, I don't know if you want to make note, we also included in the report the February numbers. We did do better than the prior year month. So that helped out a bit for February. But all in all, we have 30 just this past, well, in this January, February, March, we have 34 new members, not renew members, new members. And boy, it doesn't seem like the COVID impact is slowing down a bit for us, which from a fiscal financial situation for the golf courses is a good thing.
So working backwards, those 34 new members, are they mostly adult, senior, associate?
Yeah, Margaret, it's across the board, honestly. We have more of the associate plus. Our young people are doing a good job of recruiting.
Mhm.
We do have some new senior folks. We have some new economy folks. I mean, it goes right across the board.
And how many, just so this is kind of a double-barreled question, sorry. So first one is, so you now have the record, since we've moved over to this 12-month schedule. So you must have an anticipated number of memberships to be to come in March. So you know who expires in March, right?
We have the expiration dates of everyone.
Right. So have
For-
you started forecasting?
No, I
thinking about-
didn't. No, I have not. I certainly can't
Okay.
get that info for you, but
And then just curious, because it's here, how many of our associate and associate plus members are graduating to the next level up? Like how many associate plus members move from associate plus to associate, and how many associates are moving into the adult category? Do we have that graduation happening?
anecdotally, I can tell you that I take a lot of memberships on Saturday morning, Sunday morning.
Mhm.
And then also on Monday, I do take a fair number. I think I took in this morning, I think 13 memberships. They were all renews.
Right, but are
I-
they,
So
but are-
anecdotally, I have not had somebody from from our associate to go to, and what is it, associate plus, I think, right?
yeah, associate plus to adult.
Right, to adult. But I have 3 that I know that have gone from associate to associate plus. So
Okay.
there is that continuity that I'm seeing anyway.
That's good. Now, it's just a matter of thinking about retention and making sure that
Sure.
we're able to continue to retain those folks as they move up and have to pay a little bit
Well,
more.
it's just a great deal. I mean, and it makes quite a bit of sense for them, because even the associate plus is a nice savings, and they do appreciate being able to go from the associate to the associate plus, even though they're paying just a bit more, you know?
Yep, no, because I know a couple people last year who turned 30. So I'm just kind of curious if they're moving up.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. And the only other observation is looking at the weather events, the prior 4-year month numbers look a lot like this month. Yet the total lost or estimated lost rounds is like 4 times higher.
Right. Well, the lost revenue figuring, Mark, that's only a matter of the last few years that we have actually sharpen our pencil and provided a more accurate accounting of the lost revenue. Before that, we didn't do it. I mean, that's something, I
Okay.
think that's Mark's brainchild, I think.
Mhm.
But it's only been the last couple of years that I have been computing that basically ever since we moved to the Chelsea system is when I've been trying to figure out, putting a number to a lost day.
Okay. And that's fine. And that would explain why, but just kind of curious.
Right, because I mean, if the numbers, if we are getting the same kind of information, which I'm telling you that we did not,
Yep.
then the numbers would be very, very similar. So there we are.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Next would be the marketing report.
So the marketing report, I guess the one big thing is, and Marie mentioned this already, is we worked with the Women's Golf Association to create the webpage. We were trying to find out how many hits, how many people have viewed it, but I wasn't able to get that information in time for this meeting. So we're trying to track that down and should have that for the next meeting and can share that with everybody. And then the other marketing, I think we're going to talk about a little bit later on. That's one of the agenda items under new business and the Women's Golf Day or Women's Golf Month and potentially a Women's Golf Day. So I know Jessica is anxious to hear what the women's group has ideas they might have and how we can start pushing this out during the month of May and into June to recognize this Women's National or Women's Golf National Golf Day in a month. Yep.
Good. Excellent. No, thank you. Everything seems to be going along. Lots of good Thursday reports on Facebook, and so we still get interesting and a lot of forwarding I see going on. So that's good as well. All right, unfinished business. 2022 course and membership fee policy and procedures.
So, oh boy, 3 weeks ago, we went in front of the council to present what the Golf Advisory Board and the Parks and Rec Commission had presented. During that meeting, one of the counselors noted that there didn't appear to be any type of veteran category for seasons passes. So a motion was made, and we currently have, or we now have, a veteran, active and retired season pass category. We were also asked to take a good look at what other things we might be able to do in support of our veterans. And so Eric, Todd, and I have met, and you may have noticed if you filled out your new seasons pass membership, we've added, not yet, okay. We've added a category as part of the demographic information asking if they're a veteran, active, or retired. We're going to track that over the next 3 months.
Okay.
And what we've talked about is, if you look at the daily fees, the difference between the two is about a 10% discount between 42 and 47. And we're going to be looking at perhaps applying that to the season passes, but we want to kind of see what the potential impact would be, and so we have to go back to the council probably in June with an updated report, and we'll be able to, I think the next golf advisory board meeting is prior to when we would go to the council, so we could present our findings to the golf advisory board.
Okay, so no, it's interesting, and I can see it when I watch the town council meetings. Every other question sometimes is, what about the veterans? What about the veterans? So I think there are a few members of the town council. There's some real interest there.
Mhm.
I see, I can look at, I see the rates now. I assume, no, this will be interesting to see what it actually looks like, and what we find in terms of the numbers of people. The other question that I would have is that here it says active or retired military. Are we going to have a definition of veteran as well, or, somebody who served 2 years, does that qualify them, or are we talking about folks who are either active in the military now or are retired, like retired?
Yes, it actually should say military, active or retired. So somebody that served a
Does say that.
4-year, served for 4 years and then left is not considered retired from the military.
Right.
So we do need to make that change on the golf course rates. But
Okay, because the
yes.
website says active or retired military.
Right.
Right.
Right. I mean, if we considered adding all those who have served like one tour or
Mhm.
whatever, or 2 tours, then you're increasing the discount by more than a factor of 10.
Correct.
By that definition, I would deserve the discount. I think it's a very appropriate and an appropriate nod to our vets to give the discount to those who are active, because they don't have hardly any money, these young kids, really. And
Well, and
those who have served
most of those would be associates or associate pluses, so that would be a better deal for them. Anyway, just for the record.
well, I mean, yeah, but most of the guys served 25 years active before they become retired, but
Oh, yeah, no, the retirees for sure.
yeah. So, yeah, no, right. So, yeah, no, I think it's,
Okay.
as we all discussed, I think it's totally appropriate that we do active and retired.
Mhm.
Yep. That's my opinion.
So we'll be able to give you an update at the June meeting, and I did ask Todd last week of the registrations that had come in, how many had checked that box, and the number was relatively low.
Right.
But that's just kind of a small sample size. I think we probably get most of our registrations in March, April, May, and into June. So I think that will give us a better picture of what the numbers that we're looking at.
Okay. Yep, that's good. No, I look forward to seeing about that. I think it's a nice way to honor those who are either in the service now or, like you said, have retired after a long service. So thank you for that feedback. Were they okay with the rest of the?
Yes, everything
Suggestions?
else was fine.
Okay. All right, new business, Shinnecock goals and objectives.
Our department's going through agency accreditation. That includes the Parks Division, Recreation, Thrive 55, and the golf course. And one of the standards is we have to have goals and objectives. Shinnecock, I think we've always had these goals and objectives, but they haven't been written down and haven't been approved, which is one of the standards that is a requirement of one of the standards, is that a board has looked at and approved the goals and objectives. So we've put together 5 different goals. Again, this isn't anything new. I think it's items that we've talked about over the years, but we're just kind of putting it down on paper and asking that the Golf Advisory Board review and make any changes and approve the goals and objectives, so that we've got documentation that the Golf Advisory Board has looked at it and discussed and approved.
Like a motion to be made to, was it too soon?
No, you can make your motion and then we'll have a discussion.
Okay, good, sounds good. Make a motion for the board to approve the Shinnecock goals and objectives as stated in this handout.
I will second. But potentially I'd like to make an amendment to a few of these goals. Just. So I'll say seconded and then we can just have a discussion. So Maria, have you had a chance to review them? And
I've read them. You know, again, I come to this board with not a whole wealth of experience or knowledge. They certainly align well with what I would expect for our players to have in the experience and also to comply with when they play at Shinnecock. I thought that, you know, they had a broad reach in terms of player experience to environmental, finance, fiscal practices. And so, and I'd be willing to amend my motion or changes if it was the board's.
Yep.
No, to improve upon them. If
yeah, exactly.
will the board.
Okay. Yeah, so I just, in reading some of these, like improving player experience, I think that's great. But we have improved pace of play and players' assessment of the bunker condition. So I guess my question is, what are we going to do to improve? What are the actions that are going to be taken to improve pace of play? Or what is the goal to like improve pace of play so that everybody plays in 4 hours and 15 minutes or less? So, you know, the perceived time is, it just feels like we're missing kind of what the target is, for lack of a better word, you know, or how you're going to do it. We're going to stay with 10 minutes between tee times. We're going to, I mean, I just don't feel like we've got something that's measurable here as far as objectives go. And I don't know, maybe that's my experience working in the business world, where objectives need to be kind of measurable to know whether you've met them or not.
We do every other year a golf satisfaction survey. And,
Yep.
you know, one of the, or both of these, bunker conditions and pace of play, are questions that appear on that survey every time we distribute it. And we do keep track of those ratings.
Mhm.
But I
So then is
could go
this-
back and
this
I could go
solely-
back and say, you
Yeah.
know, improve our bunker condition, the assessment of the bunker conditions from a 4.2 to a 4.6. if that's, yeah,
or, even 4.2 to 4.3, but it,
Yeah.
but it, I mean, so that's the bunker conditions measuring that. So it'd be the player's perception of the bunker conditions
right,
improved, right?
yes.
Um,
And also, pace of play, again, that's one of the questions, and whatever that ranking is currently.
Yeah. But that to me, pace of play is different than assessment of bunker conditions, right? So even still, both of those, if all we're setting objectives are is that we do better on a survey, then are we really setting goals and objectives for the golf course, or just hoping that in this year's survey we do better than we did last time? I don't
Well,
see anything here that's actionable by Parks and Rec or by the golf course to
Well, I
tell us
wonder
that this is what
how-
they're going to do to improve pace of play so that the results are better, or improve the bunker conditions so the results on the survey are better. Go ahead, Todd, sorry.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that I don't know any other mechanism that we could use other than a survey to quantify an area of concern or interest or potential improvement. And then below that is, okay, how do we get there? And I think you'll have to admit, we've had many discussions about it. Moving to the 10-minute interval, start interval has been huge for
Mhm.
us. And of course we can go ahead and take averages, because averages of turn times and finish times
Mhm.
on certain days or what have you, and that would be useful to take a snapshot that way. But as you all know, being golfers, all you have to have is one bachelor party thrown in at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, and your whole turn time, finish time is just done. And
But
that was
but
only
in other
3
courses,
groups.
Todd, in other courses, that's managed. This course, it's not managed.
Okay, well,
So what
we're
are
in a
we gonna
different
do?
situation. We're in a different situation, because if I was at a resort course, then those guys would be kicked off the golf course. But this is a municipal golf course, and we rely on locals and local area golfers that we hope to see next week and next month and every
Yeah.
other week for the entire season. And so we're not going to be kicking people off. We have to treat them appropriately, and we want them to come back. We want them to have a good time. We also want them to pick it up. And that's the approach that we take. So
So
the facility that we are dictates the approach that we have to take with our people,
No, I
with
get it. I
our
get it. I
customer.
do get that. And then I also know the people who play behind them who won't come back the next week or the week after because they got stuck behind them and it was too slow.
Well, I
So
think that
it's a balance. It's a
they
balance.
see that our rangers are actually trying to do something. And we do have policy in place that if the groups are not picking it up, then they're, for example, to pick up their ball and move to the next tee. I think the
Mhm.
people behind, I think the staff does a really good job. I mean, I know that with the time that you play, you don't have that problem, Margaret. I know that.
No, not at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, you don't. And most people really don't. I mean, even during mid-morning and around midday, the people that are out there, they call in or they alert the ranger, and we do stuff. We don't just go ahead and just ride around and not respond. So I think they understand. I know they understand that
So I guess
that things are being done.
my general comment here is that we have objectives, and some of these objectives really don't have any actions from or anything that we specific that the folks in Parks and Rec and working at the golf course are going to take in order to meet these objectives. I'm not, that's the one, when I read through these, I agree with Marie that they cover a broad range. I like them. I just wish they were just a wee bit more specific.
Margaret, if I could jump in, goals, of course, are broad. Objectives require action plans.
Yep.
And I think that perhaps I'm hearing that you'd like to see action plans with the objectives. And action plans develop from with evidence that there's a
Yes.
need.
Yes.
So am I?
Yeah, you got it.
That's how I think as an educator that you have the broad goals. I like the goals.
Yeah, I do
very
too.
much So and I would agree that if this is what is required for the accreditation, if every objective should have an action plan, then more work needs to be done. And I guess I'll ask you, Mark, are you required to have goals or goals and objectives?
It was goals and objectives, but what I'm hearing is the objectives aren't quantifiable and aren't measurable, or
And then
are
when you have
not
an objective-
measurable enough. So
And also an
uh,
action that's going to remedy or support the objective.
right. So let's just do it. For instance,
Yeah.
bunker conditions. The action plan would be to continue to replace bunkers, or not necessarily replace, but rebuild bunkers. And
Right.
at
10% of the bunkers
two to
get
three
replenished every year or
a
something.
year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Maybe
And
it's buy an extra dozen rakes this year. Something simple. I mean, I'm not talking
yeah,
broad, hard things. I don't think.
right.
But we can have
And-
a subline under each objective, which is the action that the course is taking,
Right.
or as according to their master plan, or
Mhm.
intends to
Right.
take based on survey or some kind of quantifiable need. That's
Right. Okay. Yeah,
And
I
as an
think that's
example, a good one here is introduce family teas to the course. That's an action and
right.
a good objective. So I think that's great.
Okay. And perhaps if we wanted to further, and I don't know how we would measure this, but, set a goal of, 5% of rounds played, and I'm just making up numbers, is off of the family tees.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if
Yeah.
that's trackable. Yeah,
Should be.
okay.
But it could be done by, as the Groton Library, they don't count every single person that walks in the door, but they take snippets of times when they can count, reference questions or whatever. They do samplings,
Right.
kind of random samplings.
Yes, yep. Okay. Well, I think that's, all of those things are doable.
Yeah. So I think it's
When-
good. Like I said, I like the goals. I like
Mhm.
Yep.
them a lot.
When do you need these by, Mark?
March?
Next March?
No, not next March.
Last month?
What I'll continue to work, or will continue to work on these, and if it comes up during our review, which takes place in May, I can say that we have a draft and share that draft, and that anticipate approval in June.
The other thing, if you wanted to do, was call a special meeting. I mean, considering
Yeah.
you're an N of 2, that might be a viable option for you. I don't know, Marie,
Okay.
if you would be open to that.
Sure, I'd withdraw my motion and take this
Okay.
one off the floor, and then,
Sure.
as you said, Margaret, either a special meeting or email, or however whatever.
Okay,
Yep, then we can help you do that with even within the next week or two.
okay. Sounds good.
Yep, but I think the
officially
goals
withdraw
are
my
good.
motion.
Okay,
I think you have to second it, Mark.
I second that, sorry.
Okay.
So no, thank you for that. Next agenda item, Women's Golf Month/Day.
so I was hoping that to get feedback from representatives from the Women's Golf League with suggestions on what we might do in the month of June.
Well, I'll speak on this one. I did inform the board as we were working on the handbook that we have this offer from you, Mark, to have support from Park and Rec. We really appreciate that because it's fantastic. We have a membership meeting next Monday, something I definitely want to bring up to the membership.
Okay,
Margaret, jump in to help me with my recollection, but I think in February, when I did mention it to the board, some of the more big ideas or target points, we talk about getting, ways to get more women involved, maybe through the schools, the younger women, maybe to have some fun events, not to be a great golfer, but putting contest, chipping contest, something that would bring women to the course, and young women. Obviously, I can think of my granddaughters who are 8 and 11. they love having a little golf club in their hands, and so maybe set up some fun games. I don't know exactly where on the course that would be visible, but at the same time, some hit the ball in the kind of like the tossing, those toss games. But something that would be kind of festive. I don't know, maybe Clarence, you may know that, or have to, when does over by Pequannock Plains, when they have some events, I know they have a fall festival, but is there,
Yeah.
could we bring some golf things to where kids are, to
You probably could. Yeah, that's always, I think it's October usually.
I think it's October too, where the different town
Yeah,
departments highlight
yeah,
their.
we have not done the fall festival.
That's something.
We're working with the Mystic Chamber of Commerce. They've moved away from that event. We do partner with the police department on National Night Out and have various organizations that come out. And, one of the goals is to attract children or families to that, families with kids. So that, and that is in August.
Mhm. That may be something that we could maybe have some volunteers or get a contingent of SWGA women who may, could support that, an event that the town's already having,
Right, right.
And Todd, are there, your peers, are there any ideas from things that they might be doing at their golf courses that we could maybe steal or borrow?
Well, next week we have our annual spring meeting, and I'll have the opportunity to talk with a lot of my brethren, and I'll certainly bring that up and see if they're observing observing it. Are
Mhm.
they making an effort with it? Do they have anything planned? Where are they? And I can Mark, I can report back to you and Eric about that, and then it'll find its way to you all. But certainly, yeah, we have our annual spring meeting a week from tomorrow.
But there would be an opportunity to like maybe do maybe 2 events or something during the month, one oriented at kids, one oriented at just women in general or anybody. The activities might be slightly different. That's the reason I would separate the 2.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
And one
I
for
mean,
golfers too.
I was, one possibility may, bring a friend, and the friend gets 50% off or something like that. I mean, there's lots of, I talked to Jessica, and one of the things that we were thinking about is, okay, who, I can tell you what male golfers have played, that have some name recognition. Are there women golfers that, and perhaps do a couple of social media posts just talking about famous women golfers that we know that have played at Shinnecossett. And that would just be part of this kind of larger campaign to get the word out about attracting more women to Shinnecossett and to the Women's Golf Association.
Yeah, I think, Eric, you can tell me I'm wrong, but on our boards behind the cash register up on the wall there with the, the Shinnecossett Women's Trophy, I think Eric, aren't there 3 Hall of Famers there? DC Hurd, Maureen Orchid, and of course, Glenna Colett-Varr.
I don't know if all 3 are in the Hall of Fame, but they're all very noteworthy women's golfers from back in the day.
Yeah.
The Griswold Invitation was the premier women's amateur event in the country.
Huge.
Yeah, but it would be nice to see if we could discover anybody who's come through here, let's say in the last 30 or 40 years. Or find somebody, a woman in the golf profession in the area who might be willing to come and talk to some women or do something here as well. I mean, we can also look for that.
Yeah.
It appears to me there should, and I'll see if I can get interest, but maybe a subcommittee from our league to really work on this with Todd and myself and Park and Rec. I'm afraid that we wait till the next board meeting. It's going to be June.
Right.
Yeah, no,
So-
we start talking about it now.
Yeah. But I'll see if at our meeting next week if I can get a subcommittee of not just board members, but regular members too who might have an interest.
Okay.
And then would this be something that contact you, Mark, or to set up
Yeah,
a
well,
time to talk?
probably Todd, I think, would be the first point of contact.
Okay.
Depending on, I guess, if you're going to email us both. So depending on what's suggested, that may fall more in line with under my responsibilities, or
Sure.
it could fall more under Todd. So
Okay. Sound good, Todd?
Sure, sounds good. I
Okay.
think what we've done in the past, we've kind of focused on the lady golfers because they're already lady golfers, and it's easier to reach out to them. They know us and they know golf. And Mark, the last couple of years, we've offered them, I think, a discount and also a discount to any guests that they bring. I think we did that. I think they played on a given day. They paid for just a greens fee, I think, and their guests had a good discount. I think we did that at least last year anyway, we did that.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that didn't happen was we didn't advertise it.
yeah, and that's part of our plan. Is we've got some money set aside for marketing, and that was a discussion that I had with Jessica, is that we can pay to do targeted ads once we've defined what we're doing, and reach out to, like I said, a targeted audience, that's had perhaps a latent interest in golf, is a certain demographic that we're targeting. So I think
Mhm.
once we've got a couple of ideas, then we can target the marketing and try to draw more people
Mhm.
to those
Okay.
events.
I think last year, I think Jessica did a good job in reaching out to our usual social media. I do remember that, but I mean, there are drawbacks to that because there's a cross section of our lady golfers and, well, men golfers too, who just aren't tuned into the Facebook. They're not tuned into,
Right.
so
But
they just
this-
miss
yeah.
it kind of thing.
But this isn't necessarily about the people who are already here. This is also about people who are not already here.
Right.
Mhm.
And also trying to diversify, broaden the age spectrum.
Mhm.
If we're targeting the younger audience, they're more in tune with the social media than, perhaps somebody that's 65 or older or whatever. All right, so we'll wait to hear back from the meeting next Monday.
Yeah.
And Todd's
I'll get in
meeting.
touch with Todd shortly after to either, yes, we have a subcommittee, or no, to
Okay.
gauge of the interest. And
Okay,
Certainly, definitely talk it up.
all right.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else?
I do have an update on the bathroom renovation. I heard
Okay.
Marie
Yeah.
express her disappointment, and I think that's shared amongst all of those involved. So I think in the March meeting, I reported we had a great turnout of contractors. We had a number of bids come in. All of the bids, I think we had budgeted 275 for this project. The lowest bid came in at, I think, close to 400. And we actually looked at the lowest bid and a couple of other bids that were a little bit higher, and none of them had properly addressed the asbestos issue. There is asbestos in the basement, and the plumbing is going to require that they work in the basement, but there was none of them had properly addressed that, and so the bids were all thrown out. And I know Public Works is working on perhaps separating the projects, doing dealing with the asbestos first, and then rebidding the mechanical part, the reconstruction of the bathrooms and not. So at this point, the latest word that I had, which was about a month ago, was that we'll be probably looking at the fall before the bathrooms, before we see any work.
Hey, thank you for that explanation, because people ask. And
Sure.
It's a good.
Yep.
Is there any thought to doing, in the meantime, getting somebody in to do some basic maintenance on the bathrooms? Like, for example, putting the doors back together. Because last time I was in one of the bathrooms, the door to the stall was kind of falling off.
I thought that had been done.
Recently.
Yes, but I will check.
And there's a lack of a light in one of the stalls. I mean, it's pretty dark in there.
Okay.
And I imagine the men have some similar issues.
Okay,
Just because we're getting ready for summer and people are gonna start coming back and using them.
sure. Yeah, I have a meeting with the Public Works Director tomorrow, so I'll add this to the list of
Yeah.
updates.
Thank you.
Thank
Sure.
you. Cool. Anything else, Clarence? Marie?
No,
No, I saw it. You said no.
Yeah, I just, I know Todd's aware of it, but the current software, I went in to renew my membership, but it had expired a couple days before, and I couldn't get in there because I was no longer a member. So I could have only renewed it as a new member. Would have been a new number, so I don't know if other people had to do that, but I think Todd's been tracking that so that old members don't get counted as new members because they got a new number.
Well, Clarence, you didn't sign up as a new member, did you?
No, I went on the town site
Yeah.
to
Yep.
renew because on that site I could only have renewed on that on that site I could only renew as a new member. I couldn't renew as an old member because they didn't have me in as a member, so I couldn't get in. Because my
Right.
membership had expired. I think that if they change the software and, maybe let it consider a member to the end of the month or something like that, there must be some way that the software could be fixed.
Well, the
I can
software is
confirm
going
the
to have a
problem.
time definite, is going to have a time definite on active and suspend.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I would had we, I just encourage those of you who have that kind of problem to, next time you come out to play, just come on in. It takes a minute to renew the membership with us. So,
But just to report, I'm having the same problem.
what?
I can't log into the system
To renew
Okay.
your membership?
to renew my membership or even to get a tea time. I
Okay,
can't log into the system.
So I might have missed it, but did you tell me or one of the guys that you were having problems logging in?
No, literally, I just, when Clarence said something, I just went and tried to log in to see if I was having the same issue, and I am.
Okay, so so there are two things. I don't know what your suspend day is, but if it's
March 31st.
well, there we are. So that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, it'll kick you out. I don't know. I can have a conversation with the people with Chelsea, but
It's coming
I
up as
think
Vermont systems. Why is it coming up as Vermont systems? The link,
well,
if you click on the link from the
well,
website,
the website, Mark, tell me I'm wrong, is still a creation that is connected with the Vermont systems, and the Chelsea system just kind of plugs in.
Yeah, but
that's
there
the
should
problem.
not, the link on the town's web page should not be directing it to, it ought to be directing it to Chelsea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the problem, one of the problems, Clarence, because if yeah, so now I'm getting an error that says the user is not active and cannot log into the system, and that's the Chelsea.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
happened
okay.
to me.
Okay.
Right.
And I guess I ended up going on to the town's, maybe it was through Parks and Rec but I was able to go in, and the nice thing about it was I was able to use my Discover card, whereas normally I can't use that for the golf course.
All right, I'm gonna have to look to make sure that, well, no, it should be fine, Clarence.
Yeah, I hope so, because I played.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Because once a person joins online, then basically they just take the information and they send it over to us. And
Yeah.
then we feed it into the Chelsea system. So it kind of adds another layer of work to it, but we'll make sure that you have your same number and all of that.
I would think that Chelsea could do something, I mean, maybe block you from getting tea times, but at least, hold your membership for, a
30
month
days.
or something so that you can re-up.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I mean, most customer, we are, this department is very proactive as far as convenience and offering online bookings and signups and all of that, and it's fantastic. Most golf courses don't do that. If once, if you're due for a repay of your membership, then you're coming into the shop.
Well,
But,
no,
but
so
we'll
this is
see.
what I would expect them to be able to do. They within 2 weeks of you expiring, they should be able to send you a notification that your membership is about to expire. Number one, very easy for them to do. I'm sure they have that capability. And then secondly, to Clarence's point, to keep it active for 30 days after it expires so that you have time to renew it and are able to do it online. Because Mark, as much as you think, people still are getting more and more into doing things online versus
Well, I agree.
coming into the shop.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'll be into the shop to pay mine. But we might want to fix the links on the website.
Yeah.
Cool, though. Good. Anything else? Otherwise, we can make a motion to adjourn the meeting. I'll make the motion. Marie, I think you have to second it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, before you do that, do we have a
Okay.
date for the June meeting?
Yeah,
That's on the agenda. Next meeting date?
should be
Yeah,
the 6th,
Pardon me?
June 6th.
June 6th.
6th? Okay. And I'll go ahead and second the adjournment motion.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good
You're welcome.
discussion.
Good night.
Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Night.
Have a good night.